Welcome to Forest Chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode we're talking with Nathalie Mitchell about open water swimming. Nathalie started open water swimming about 27 years ago. Over time, she's had a few breaks, but even in the last month or so, she's been out there at another event. Welcome to Forest Chat, Nathalie.
Thanks, Paul. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here, Nathalie. Nathalie, what is open water swimming?
Wow. Open water swimming is swimming in a body of water like the ocean or a lake, not in a swimming pool, particularly in the ocean.
So at that point, you're exposed to all the weather that's out there and waves and that sort of thing?
Yes, exposed to lots of different sea creatures as well. The elements, wind, currents, rips, that sort of thing, whatever's out in the ocean.
It's the most natural form of swimming, I think.
It is very natural, and the salt water is very invigorating as well.
And you're out in the sun and you're with nature. You can't get any closer to nature than while you're out open water swimming.
Yeah, that's what I love about it the most.
Do you take part in events, Nathalie?
I do. I take part in the open water swimming series here in Western Australia. That is like 9 events in the calendar, and there are different distances you can do for that as well.
And what's the focus of the event? Like, how do they measure the competition?
There are different distances. There are like distances for kids, like 500 metres, or even for adults if you're first starting to get into it. And then they take it up to 1.25 kilometres, then 2.5, 5 and 7.5 and 10 kilometres if you want to go, do a bit of marathon swimming.
So why is it that distance? Like 1.25 seems a little bit almost random.
Yeah, so they measure it out with the buoys in the ocean. So you swim 1 lap for the 1.25, and then it's easy to do 2.5, so you do 2 laps and then goes on and on. So it's easy to measure those distances as you're going up in distance.
That sounds like it's a standard thing. There must be a governing body or something like that.
Yes, Swimming Australia, Swimming WA hold these events, and they are carried out throughout Australia as well. But in WA, Swimming WA runs the whole open water swimming series here.
Are they the only cowboy in town?
I think so, yes. There are events that you can do. There's the Rottnest Channel Swim. That is governed by that's just the Rottnest Channel Swim Committee that will run that one. But there are other races you can do not within Swimming WA.
You do have more options than just doing the laps around the buoys, which is the series in effect.
Yeah, there are a lot more options. From memory, I think you can do a swim through Kununurra or through one of the lakes, Lake Argyle. That's like a 20-kilometre swim as well. I haven't actually done that one, but if you want to travel, there are other swimming events you can do around the place.
And how far can you go if you really want to take it to an extreme?
Well, if you want to go really far, the marathon swimming here is, Rottnest, so that's 20 kilometres. And if you really want to do some big swims, you can swim around Manhattan in America or do the English Channel, which there's not actually a set distance on the English Channel. The currents are quite strong, so you end up swimming probably around 35 kilometres for that one from Dover to Calais.
How long would that sort of thing take?
Well, I was on somebody's boat for one of those swims in 2008. He took 9 hours he took 14 hours. I'm just thinking about, because he got stuck in a current, wasn't fast enough to beat the current, got stuck in it, had to keep swimming and going nowhere until he got to the end. So it depends how fast a swimmer and how strong you are as well as to how fast you can get to the other side.
Wow, that sounds like you could be out there for a long time if you're not fast enough and the currents are tad strong.
Yes, and also the English Channel, I did get in and swim a little bit with him. It is very, very cold. Like the water temperature there would have been around 11 or 12 degrees.
Wow.
It was very cold.
You need a jacket when it's that cold outside.
Oh, they smother themselves in sheep fat or like lanolin. Or it's a substance that sticks to your skin and it doesn't come off for a long time. But yeah, when they start, they smother themselves. People even do that for the Rottnest channel swim as well. Yeah, they'll smother themselves and it's a layer just coating them from the cold.
Do we need to worry about that here in WA?
Definitely not. I actually have done the Rottnest channel swim twice and I didn't really need to. So the water temperature sits at about 20 degrees here, so it's quite warm.
Sounds like it's quite warm, but it's cold when it's 40 degrees outside, so it's a good swim.
Yes.
But that's the thing with water, isn't it? That really the outside temperature also impacts what it feels like, especially when you first get in.
Yes, definitely. And the wind factor as well.
Oh, yeah, the wind chill.
Yeah, wind chill when you get out.
That's very interesting. Oh, I didn't ask about the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. So we were very lucky to have Kyle Lee, who's actually from Australia, represent Australia in the 10K open water swim in Paris recently. I think he came 13th. And I was lucky enough to meet him at one of the open water swimming competitions. And yeah, he was lovely to talk to.
So if you want to, you can get to the Olympics as well. It's not Winter Olympics, it's Summer Olympics.
Yeah, it's the Summer Olympics. Yeah, you can actually do that event in the Olympics now. Men and women, they have the 10K and I think they do have a mixed relay as well.
A relay as well, okay.
Yeah, where I'm not sure of the distances, but there's 4 in a relay and then I think they would swim maybe 2 kilometres each or something like that. Yeah.
That'll give you like an 8K distance all up for the actual competition.
Yeah, it's around that. It's quick, so everyone just gets in, does a big sprint, and then passes it to the next person, and then they get in. Australia actually does quite well at those mixed relays.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yes.
We've heard a little bit about what open water swimming is. Natalie, what does it take you to go open water swimming?
Well, I do train for these open water swims because I do compete in races. I don't actually swim that much. I probably swim about 3 to 4 times a week, and each session I will do a different session, like a long session, concentrating on endurance. And then I will get in with one of my friends who pushes me and we'll do a sprint session. And then I will do an ocean water swim as well, and then just add in some fun things as well, like a lot of drills and just to mix things up a bit because it does get slightly, a little bit boring if you don't have a goal for the session that you're doing. I just get in and I have all my little toys, my swim toys like fins, paddles, pool buoy. Yeah, I would probably swim about 3 kilometres or 3.5 kilometres depending on what I'm training for.
3 kilometres per session or 3 kilometres over the week?
Per session. So per week, I would probably do about 10 kilometres per week.
Well, that's a pretty decent amount of swimming that you do. But you mentioned drills. What are swimming drills?
Swimming drills help perfect your technique. If you could be doing one arm freestyle, for instance, as an example, concentrating on things like your hand placement in the water, pulling through the water, making sure you're getting the most out of your stroke.
Okay, so each of those drills is designed to work on either your technique or your muscle strength or something like that?
Mostly with technique. Swimming is all technique. Fitness does play a part, but if your technique isn't right, you're not going to go as far. It depends what you're actually training for, what the goal is. I like to train to go a bit faster than I did the last time for my swims. But technique, mostly these drills are aimed at technique.
Getting the technique right actually makes a big difference when you're out there competing because you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I wasn't brought up swimming, so I had to learn that at a later age. But you notice the people that have been swimming their whole lives, their technique is just perfect. I came in a bit later, so I had to learn that at a later age, and I had to fix all the mistakes I was making before. But yeah, and that takes a lot to correct your technique.
So there's quite a bit of dedication that you've put in to make that happen.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm a very motivated person, so I like to do well and just do the best that I can. So I'm always looking at how can I go faster. I'm always looking at reading books or asking people that have got a bit more experience than I have, how can I get quicker at this?
So what are your recommended sources for getting quicker?
Just recently, I had been just swimming, breathing to one side, and a friend of mine said, you should do some bilateral breathing. That's breathing every 3 strokes to have a more streamlined body. Because every time you breathe, you kind of stop a little bit. So I changed to bilateral breathing. And the last race I did, I actually took 4 minutes off my personal best time for 2.5 kilometres, and I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
It was a huge improvement.
It's something that sounds so simple. So you were breathing every second stroke, was it then? And then went to every third stroke?
So I was breathing every second stroke, and then, now every third stroke. So it's, breathing every third stroke. Yeah, huge difference. And just the tilt of your head. My head was up a little bit. I had to concentrate on looking down, so it sort of brings your legs up on top of the water, so your body's sort of on top of the water. You're not sinking from the legs or from your hips. That streamlined position is very important.
Yeah, well, you think about a streamlined car shape compared to like a truck or something like that. You can see what the difference would be for a streamlined shape versus one that's not streamlined. The same thing happens in the water.
Absolutely. It just, makes all the difference how you travel through the water. Yeah, you're just using your maximum stroke as well. You're really pushing through the water as well. Yeah, it helps a lot.
And how do you go? Because you're open water swimming and you're subject to like the wind and the waves. How does that play on your training? Are you actually training out there or in the pool or?
So I'll probably do a couple of sessions in the pool. That's important for fitness. And then I'll go out once or twice a week in the open water. So you do get used to the temperature of the water because the pool is a lot warmer. Sometimes when you get into the ocean, it's like, oh, you're a little bit cold. But yeah, I would get in, a couple of times a week just to, if it's really wavy and there's, a lot of swell, and you still have to sight as well when you're swimming. Look where you're going. You can't just swim like you're swimming in a pool. You have to, actually have points where you'll look at and then you just swim to that point. So you learn how to swim in a straight line.
Oh, yeah, because in the pool, the line's underneath you and you can just look down and see it. But out in open water, there's no line.
There's no line. So, you have to, sometimes you will do some drills. This is going back to the pool, looking up every, 5th stroke to see where you're going. Yeah, and you do a lot of that as well in the open water. So, you would sight the buoys. They have 4, actually more buoys, like about 8 buoys that you would sight, and then you just try to go for those buoys.
It's not like you're trying to look 1.25 kilometres down the ocean and you're at like water level, and I don't know how tall the buoys are, but they'll be a long way away. You wouldn't see them.
There are 4 huge buoys at the start and where you turn around, but there's smaller ones in between. On a really flat day, it's fine. You can see everything. But if the swell is, quite big and it's really choppy, you can't see the buoys at all. So, you've just got to, just do your best. Put your head down, do your best.
Get in tune with nature. When you're up, look.
That's it.
When you're up, look up.
Oh.
I imagine you're around people, so it's probably not like many people get lost doing this, but it must have its moments.
Yeah, I always make a point of sighting because I did make the mistake of following somebody once. Like I thought I would just swim on their toes, and they were actually going a bit crooked. So I was going crooked, so I don't trust anyone now. I have to do it on my own and sight them myself, not rely on anyone else to take me there.
You need to know where you're going, and you can't always trust the others.
That's right. And also straight lines as well. If you want to get that PB or, the good time, or if you're going for a place or medals, then, you want to go in a straight line.
Yeah, the beeline, get to the finish.
Yeah.
So we've had a talk about what it takes. Let's have a break now, and after the break, we'll talk about what it means. We've had a look at what it takes to go open water swimming. Now, let's have a look at what it means. Natalie, what does it mean to you, your family, or the community that you can go open water swimming?
I think the open water swimming for me is really good for my mental health. It helps me unwind at the end of the day, or even at the beginning of the day. It's a great start to the day. I find the salt water, especially in the ocean, really invigorating, and it has a lot of health benefits as well. Yeah, so it means a lot to me. Apart from me being a competitive person naturally, it has a lot of health benefits, and it's also a sport that you can keep going doing until you're 90 years old. You know, it's doesn't have a lot of impact on your joints because it's a weight-bearing exercise. It's a great, cardio activity. And yeah, it's one of those things that you can keep on doing, and a lot of longevity in that sport.
You're floating along, in effect,
Yeah,
using your muscles, so the cardio side of things really works out, and keeping things moving keeps you alive and flexible and all those sorts of things.
yeah, definitely. Just being out in nature as well. It's just being in the elements, being in nature. It makes me feel really good.
That's great to hear. Then what about for your family?
So my family, my son actually does swimming, and I want to get him into open water swimming. He's not convinced yet that it's for him, but yeah, I'll get him in there at some stage.
Sometimes you just have to give it a go because it's much better than you anticipate it might be.
Yeah, definitely. Give it a go. I know a lot of people say to me, aren't you scared of sharks in the water? And I don't even let my mind go there. As soon as your mind goes there, you won't really want to be in there. You need to be in a pretty good mindset. Yeah, there are sharks in the water, but I don't really fear sharks. I haven't really seen any when I've been swimming. Even when I swam across to Roto, didn't see many things at all. So, yeah, I know they're out there, but yeah, it just doesn't even enter my mind.
That's good, and we prefer dolphins down here at Australind.
I do swim with the dolphins at Kumbana Bay. It is glorious.
Kumbana Bay is a nicely protected area as well, isn't it? So relatively speaking, it would be calmer, and it's got those beautiful dolphins. They love it.
Yeah, the dolphins are amazing. They do swim with you. Early in the morning when I've been down there, they like to swim beside you, and it does give you a bit of a fright because you think, oh, what's that? But yeah, it's really nice to have that, and it's really protected at Kumbana, and I feel quite safe. Even, swimming by myself. I don't really get to swim with other people that much, but because of, time restrictions and so busy these days. But yeah, I feel safe getting there by myself.
And is there a club that you can swim with or join or?
Yeah, there's Bunbury Masters Club, can swim with them, or there's the Australian Swimming Club if you're a little bit younger. They all participate in the open water series as well as pool swimming. So yeah, you can join these clubs, and yeah, if you want to just do it for a bit of fun and a bit of social connections with people, yeah, I would like to join a club, but I'm just too busy at the moment to get there.
You've got your own schedule. You're already rather active with your own fitness program anyway. It takes up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, so I just try to fit things in when I can. Like when my son swims, I swim as well. I just try to fit things in where I can and make it work for me.
And then you do events from time to time.
I do. Last year I did a couple of events in the open water swimming series. I hadn't swam for a while because I had a couple of frozen shoulders that lasted 4 years. And then I got back into swimming, and my first event, I was in the super legend category. That's the 50s and over. And I won a bronze medal, and I was quite excited about that. Then I thought, oh, I've still got it. So then I went in another one and I won a gold medal, and that's sparked me off for this season. I've done a couple of events this season and won a couple of silver medals, and I think there are like 8 more events that I'm going to try to get myself to.
And the events, are they a summer type series or is it all year?
Yeah, just only in the summer because it's a little bit cold in winter. I don't think people would really want to turn up and swim at winter time. But they have various events around the place at different beaches. I think the first one I went to was at Leighton Beach, and then they had one at Coombana. Next week is actually Coogee. I think after that it's Rockingham, Mullaloo, Sorrento, Busselton and Scarborough. I think they're pretty much all the races that are left.
For this season?
Yeah,
So,
for this season.
yeah, we're talking mid-November now. There's a good few months left to get all of those in.
Yeah, and also I forgot to mention the Busselton Jetty swim where you swim around the Busselton Jetty. It's 3.6 kilometres. If you want to challenge yourself to do that, that's in February.
So mid-season, beautiful.
Yeah, nice and warm.
And not too deep there, is it? So you end up, the water would be not warmed by the summer suns.
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful swim too because it's really clear and you can see the marine life. You see fish, and at the bottom, at the end of the jetty, they have little sculptures that you can see that are all down the bottom of the jetty. People have put there. Yeah, that's a really beautiful, and it's a great event. Heaps of people are doing it now, and yeah, it's such a brilliant event to do.
So those sculptures, it's sort of an underwater version of Gnomesville by the sound of that.
It is. It's like an underwater version of Gnomesville.
Well, I know they put out like dive reefs and all that sort of thing for the scuba dive. It's maybe not so surprising, but I didn't expect it.
Yeah, it's great. It's very creative.
Absolutely. What do you see other people getting out of open water swimming?
I think the open water swimming community, it's an amazing community. There are all sorts of different people swimming, different ages, from like 10 years old to 90 years old. And they're all really supportive as well. It's a really nice community. You can choose to be competitive or non-competitive, and you just have your own goals that you want to achieve. But yeah, it's a really great community to be in.
We've had a look at what it means to go open water swimming. Let's have a break now, and after the break, we'll have a look at how you do it. We've had a look at what it means to go open water swimming. Now, let's have a look at how you do it. Nathalie, how do you do it?
Swimming is a really easy thing to get into. You just need a cap, goggles, and you just need a little bit of motivation to get yourself wherever you can go, whether it be a lake or the ocean. Yeah, and you just get in and you just give it a go.
That almost sounds too easy.
It's very easy. It's very, very easy to do.
And no admission fees to get in there, like if you're going down to a pool or something like that?
The ocean's great because I don't spend a lot of money during summer. I'm going to the pool, having to go to the pool. Yeah, you just go to the ocean. It's free.
And what if you wanted to get involved with an event or something like that?
So if you wanted to get involved in an open water swimming event, you would just go to the Open Water Swimming Series website and everything's just laid out there, all the fees. I think it's like $55 a race, and that's really not expensive compared to other races that you can do around the place. Or you can join the Open Water Swimming Series as a member, and that's not much. That's about $50 as well. So, yeah, you just Google that and look it up and go from there.
Sounds remarkably easy. So you don't need like a licence or register your car or anything like that. It's very straightforward.
Very straightforward.
What do you think about when you're preparing yourself to go to an event? Like, how do you get yourself ready?
So some of the events are in Perth. So, of course, living in Australia, I have to travel. So I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning so next week I'll be going to Coogee Beach. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll probably have a coffee and some breakfast, like, I don't know, an up and go or something like that. Get down there and go register and, yeah, just get in the water and you just start. It is a very easy sport. And then, yeah, you just swim your best and then, yeah, get out and, you wait and see how you did. I always go and see how I did, if I got a place or my time on the website that you can scan in and it will show you live results on how you did. Yeah.
So you must have a timing chip or something.
Yes, I forgot about that. They do give you a timing chip you have to wear on your wrist and it will take your split times of all the laps that you do. So yeah, you can compare it to the last race you did or your personal best.
So it sounds like that timing chip talks to the whatever's set up within the buoys at the ends, that sort of thing must be.
Yeah, there must be a device there that it just records your time, and then at the end you usually finish in the water and you have to tap a banner when you swim underneath it, and then it records your finish time.
So yeah, under the flag, and
That
it
you
floats.
tap.
It's like a banner across the.
Yeah, it's like a flotation device. You swim underneath it.
And how many people get involved?
It's quite a big community, the open water swimming community. Usually there's, in the 2.5 kilometre race that I do, which is the most popular distance, would probably be, and it is a mass start, about 200 people at the start line. So it does get a bit messy at the start. If you don't like to be in all of that chaos at the beginning, you can just hang back. But yeah, it does get a little bit, chaotic at the start, trying to get a good start. People swim over the top of each other and everybody, and you get your goggles sort of whacked off your face and stuff like that, which isn't very nice. That doesn't sound nice at all, does it? But
I guess you're. That's the group that are actually in there to actually get out and win and all that sort of thing.
If you're competitive and you want to do well, then yeah. But if you're not that way inclined, then you just hang back at the start, and so you get a nice start, not a chaotic one.
Fantastic. Little tricks of the trade.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the most exciting start that you've had?
The Leighton Beach one, the first one, was terrible for me. I turned up to the swim and it was terrible conditions, and I'm looking at the water thinking, this is going to be awful. Yeah, the start, I wanted to get a good start, so I got straight to the front, and I got my goggles knocked off, had to stop. I got punched in the head. I'm sure these people didn't mean to actually punch me in the head. But yeah, and you almost get pushed under. So you feel a little bit of anxiety because you have to get your breath because you lost your timing and everything, and you have to stop and kind of reset yourself and say to yourself, right, just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got to keep your wits about you, and from a sports psychology perspective, it's you've taken a hit, but you've actually got to get back out there and immediately.
Absolutely. It's like falling over if you're running. You've fallen over, you've got to get back up and get back on the horse, keep going.
Keep going, yeah. Just we've been watching the Tour de France and the Volta in Spain, and those guys, they fall off, and most of the time they get back on and they're checking as they go and, what they've lost in the way of skin usually.
Yeah, that's not nice.
No, but they're tough. They get in there and they just keep on.
That's right. You do have to have
a
pretty tough mental outlook. You have to know where to position yourself at the start of these races. If you're not very strong, you'd want to sort of go to the back. But if you're a pretty strong starter, you want to have a good go, then yeah, you get to the front. But yeah, expect that these things are going to happen to you. Yeah.
Or that there's at least the possibility. But you can hang back and actually stay out of all of that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Cool. And I guess that's the element of competition versus going for a swim on your own, like a training swim in the morning and you're alone, and swimming with the dolphins is the other side of how beautiful that can be.
That's right. That's why it is probably good to swim in a group, to have that dynamic of swimming in a pod of people. Yeah, because you are going to bump into each other and that sort of thing. Because, yeah, in the water you can't actually see much at all. You're going to swim into somebody at some stage.
As a youngster, I did hours of lap training in the pool, and you're always either bumping into the lane rope or touching someone who's going the opposite direction in the same way. So being in a swimming pool and being in a training environment didn't make any difference. You still had that.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Nathalie, for being on Forest.chat. And all of Forest.chat listeners wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we talked with Nathalie Mitchell about open water swimming. Remember, there are 4 ways to get involved with forest.chat. Share the domain forest.chat with your family and friends and people you meet. When you subscribe for the emails, you get early advice of episodes that are coming up. To listen to the episodes, go to forest.chat/episodes. If you're doing something interesting or you think other people might find it interesting, go to forest.chat/interview. If you want to support a local business, go to forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you with our next guest. Until then, enjoy making it happen.